We got some folk life music queued up.
If you say a mambo Italiano one more damn time,
It's not my fault. They put the shit in the commercial, and it's in my fucking head now.
they gonna end up paying you. They gonna even cut me a check. They hate my guts right now. They gonna cut you a check for singing this shit.
Get my bread, shawty.
Episode 5. We are the Broken Pencil Booking Company. I am Wood,
You stay classy, internet. I'm Suave Burgundy.
as he always is. Episode 5, fam.
Yeah.
We've been here a whole 5 episodes, not even 5 weeks. Luckily, not even 5 months doing 5 episodes. But we here.
I mean, you know, we sticking to some type of schedule.
Trying to. So in honor of episode 5,
5 times.
this is the Booker T episode. And we've got 5 top 5s for our 5th episode. And I think that you, the listener, will be very entertained by these because you will probably be if there was ever an episode where you wanted to yell at your speakers, your headphones, whatever you're listening to us on, if there was ever a reason to yell at us, this one will be the one that you're going to start yelling at us. So
Wait, we're inviting people to yell at us?
yeah.
Why?
At Broken Pencil BC on everything, even gmail.com. Because they can. And they're going to have an opinion, and their opinions matter.
Do they?
Not really. It's a Broken Pencil. We write this shit, and you can't. Hashtag, you can't write this.
I'll let go.
So, we're going to run over Money in the Bank predictions because it's time for Money in the Bank.
Right.
And you haven't really heard from us since the last pay-per-view. We also have gimmick matches that we want to talk about. We thought about the top 5 people that Brock may lose to because I don't know about... I guess it would be safe to ask you now. Do you think Brock is going to lose his title at SummerSlam?
I think for the good of what you have going on, he should. I can't necessarily say whether or not I think he will, because now at this point, that's one of the few things that you're holding on to that actually pisses off your audience. So if Brock just continues to retain and no one has an end date on his reign, then it becomes, like, funny.
Speaking of time frames and reigns and dates, today is Monday, June the 10th. As right now, as we're recording this, we're watching the tail end of Monday Night Raw, the go-home show for Money in the Bank.
Right.
It's also the week of my birthday. So I will be a nice, healthy 21 years old, and I'm celebrating by drinking some spirits before I turn 21 all over again. Not to mention Father's Day this coming weekend. We also have Money in the Bank again.
Ladies, take care of the fathers that are in your vicinity.
Yeah, I got a cash tag too. I might throw up on my socials.
I am unfriending, unfollowing, and blocking any and all women who pull that single mother, single father routine. It's not your day.
Now you got one.
One is all you're allowed. You have one reproductive organ. You get one day
and one job.
You had one job.
All right, we got in the midst of or the aftermath of CM Punk losing his second MMA fight,
getting mopped.
He got mopped so bad. Dana White said his opponent should be 0-2 for how bad he humiliated Punk and didn't finish him. But we have the top 5 possible return matches for CM Punk that would actually break the bank. We also hear rumors that HBK, because of a Bleacher Report article, that HBK may have just one more match.
Now, he came back out and clarified it afterwards, but for the purposes of this podcast, we're going to go as if we were trying to book him to return, but yeah.
Face it, we need content and they need shit to talk about.
So we here.
Hi.
We here with it. You dig?
And we can go in any order you want to, but we also have the top 5 wrestlers in the world, in our opinion, that you need to check for that have not sniffed WWE. They could have never been there, including NXT. And we've done some research to know that they have not shown up there at any point in time. And we've got some good ones for you. And we have our reasons as to why you should pay attention to them.
I tell you what, let's start there because we're usually like really heavy on WWE content. And right now, there are other places, other people, other promotions that are really outperforming WWE at this particular moment in time on the calendar. So let's shine some lights on the indies.
All right. Now, that said, we've been getting a I can't say complaints. We get some constructive criticism on the time. And we don't give a shit because it's a podcast and there are no rules to this. But in the essence of this being the episode number 5.
Nobody get no fuck.
Hey, vote life.
Vote life, Shawty.
There's a hashtag. In the essence of celebrating the Booker T episode, the 5-time episode, we're gonna do a 5-minute timer on these top 5s.
Is we?
Sure.
Who agreed to this?
Mr. Burgundy, let's set that timer at 5 minutes, and we're gonna run down our list. And 5 minutes starts now.
All right, let's do it, Shawty.
Number 5 on my list is the MLW Heavyweight Champion. If you're not familiar with MLW, it's an organization out of Florida that has some visibility on one of these networks, the BN network on cable. His name is Shane Strickland. If you follow Lucha Underground, you would know him as Killshot. Shane Strickland, African-American guy. He is a military veteran, from what I heard in a couple of interviews. This man is as charismatic as they come. He's under 200 pounds, so he would be generally classified as a cruiserweight. But he has one of the sickest smooth movesets I have ever seen from any performer ever. I mean, we're talking like things that involve flips, glass. Not a flippy dude that Jim Cornette would actually hate, but man, he does some really insane stuff. Look him up, Shane Strickland, your MLW champion, also Killshot and Lucha Underground. He does some really cool stuff. Who you got for your number 5?
At number 5, I have from, I guess it would be YouTube fame, the Human Tornado.
Okay.
Because I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'm not as into the indies as I was, like, as a young internet scourer. So I got to get back on my game as far as the indies are concerned, that people who haven't touched the WWE and that I'm really well versed on. But considering the entertainment, air quotes, aspect that goes on with 205 Live, you need cruiserweights that can sell merch. And I feel like you could put the Human Tornado on television and probably get some merchandise sales.
What comes to mind when I hear something like that is Curry Man from OTNA, Christopher Daniels, when he dressed up like a Slim Jim and was really rocking it on the X Division.
Curry Man. You had to do that, didn't you?
I did, but hey, he's hot, he's spicy, but he definitely an attraction. He did that in the ring, that's for sure. So you got to say number 5. You got the Human Tornado. My number 4.
What you got?
From ROH and New Japan fame. If you Google the words Stone Pitbull,
do it now.
You will find 2 words: Tomohiro Ishii. This
good.
man, you like that?
Yeah,
this man
you went hard for that.
Is built like a bulldog.
He's right. It's the first thing that pops up.
Swab just Googled it.
His facts check out. Boy, look at you coming up in the world, being all reputable and stuff.
You like that? I'm here all week trying to build Tip Your Bartender. Yo, you think Shinsuke Nakamura is giving you strong style? If strong style had a father, Tomohiro Ishii would have
kicked him in the spine.
Killed him. That's all I need to say about it. Google him, watch him on YouTube, and if you find him on ROH TV, you are very, very lucky. Who you got for your number 4?
I'm booking more for the cruiserweights because I want to see 205 Live succeed because, I mean, I don't want to see that many people just go unemployed all at once.
I can dig it.
Pentagon Jr.
Hey, you're a former Impact Wrestling champion.
I want somebody who's going to turn a flip.
Flippy do.
With a mask on. I want the Lucha House Party to turn into the Cartel. I don't want no more happy-go-lucky lucha stuff. I want a cartel. I want a drug cartel. I want Pentagon Jr. to be the El Chapo of 205 Live.
Let's talk about it. If everybody was a heel, you have to cheer for somebody.
I mean, we'll find somebody to be a face, but I want more quality heels. I want more quality, realistic, lifelike heels. And I want drug cartel in my wrestling. Who you got?
Number 3, Jay White. Jay White, Ring of Honor, ROH, your IWGP United States Champion. A belt that's only been around for about a year now.
Kenny Omega was the first.
Yeah, and I don't know. Don't get me started on who he beat. But I think he's the third champion. Was it? No, definitely was. That was last year. He beat Ishii. Your IWGP United States Champion. He beat Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I was about to say, Jay White, who beat Kenny Omega.
Yeah, earlier this year he beat Kenny Omega. I didn't realize that's when he beat him.
He's the second champion.
Yeah, and he had a successful title defense in the New Japan Dominion. If you have New Japan World or don't know about New Japan World, make sure you cop that. Dominion, from what we hear and read, it was quite the spectacle.
If you'd like to send us a login.
Yeah, Broken Pencil BC at gmail.com, at Broken Pencil BC on all things social.
We accept gifts.
All the time. We love him. So that's my number 3, Jay White. Who you got for your number 3?
I just got hip to this guy literally within the last 48, 72 hours. But considering his measurables and statistics, I'm almost certain he's going to be on WWE TV at some point.
Uh-oh.
Walter. Standing 6'4", 310 pounds, Australian heavyweight. Strong style heavyweight.
Wow, just straight up Walter.
Just Walter. He's known as Walter. If he's walking around named Walter, chances are either he's going to be booked as a handy capable character or an ass kicker.
Like a strong style version of Eugene Dinsmore or Nick Dinsmore.
No, I don't want any more of those characters. I don't want anyone to be portrayed as any, less capable than what they really are. If you're mentally capable to function as a human being, I don't want any more stuttering gimmicks. I don't want any more of that because it doesn't entertain me.
Right.
If you stutter in real life, cool. I'll laugh at that, but don't force it. Don't fake stutter. Don't Matt Morgan stutter.
Okay.
But yeah, I just got hip to him. He's supposed to be wrestling Adam Cole pretty soon. I'm gonna use that as my gauge to see whether or not I just pick somebody because I couldn't find anybody else, or I actually picked a diamond in the rough. So we'll see. Walter.
Just Walter.
Right. And he's young. Born in 87. He's 30 years old right now.
So along those lines, I got a youngster, relatively speaking.
Who you got?
Trained by killer Tim Brooks, straight out of world class.
Doom, 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 doom.
And you know if he's trained by killer Tim Brooks, 99 times out of 100, he's from the great state of Texas.
He knows how to blade.
From Wichita Falls.
Wow.
6'3", and I want to say they're probably embellishing on this one just a hair. 332 pounds. I want to say are probably underselling his weight.
That was just a good day. He was doing keto that day.
Either that or he was fresh off a stomach virus. Keith Lee.
Hey, hometown.
He
close enough to being hometown.
Hold on, I might have to modify my list.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Breaking news.
My list just went to shit.
Why?
On May 1st, 2018, it was announced that Lee had signed a WWE contract.
May 1st?
May 1st.
No shit.
Who knew?
Hey, just edit that shit out, fam. You all right? Well, I mean, all it means is that before you knew that, you knew where he was going. You knew he had the potential. So I guess we're waiting on him to debut.
We just fucked this shit up. This is definitely going on the archive.
So you just gonna have a 4-person list? Nah, son.
No. Before, because this is definitely gonna get edited. Do you have the Briscoes on your list?
No.
Okay.
I didn't put a tag team on.
All right. So I'm not gonna put a tag team on there. My number 2.
This is garbage. This is garbage. This man has just restarted the match.
I am restarting the match.
This is trash.
Unlike my comment, though, I'm not going to edit it for the sake, but I do have a backup. My 2, I guess we call him 2B. 2B.
To be continued because this is trash.
Jay Briscoe.
The ball don't lie.
Jay Briscoe. Jay Briscoe was cutting promos on YouTube better, and I think the only person that had a better YouTube game than him was Matt Hardy. After Matt Hardy left the WWE the first time and became Hardy version 2.0. What was it?
Did he finally upgrade his software?
I want to say this was.
That's a long time before you go to 2.0. You ought to at least be on 3.7.
I'm talking about way like when the internet was first cracking, like for
internet was first cracking
for wrestlers.
Okay.
And YouTube, because he had he was probably the first wrestler with a brand outside of WWE, was Matt Hardy.
I can dig it.
So right around, I want to say 2009, maybe 2010, Jay Briscoe was cutting promos from his family's farm in Delaware.
I do remember a lot of those.
And they were profanity laced, and if you have never heard of ROH, you were interested, if by no other reason, his promos. And whether it's a tag team wrestler or a singles wrestler, who he has been the ROH World Heavyweight Champion, he's definitely someone that without the WWE machine has been able to flourish. And if they can ever make it possible for him to actually come to WWE, I have no doubt that even in his mid-30s that he'll be able to sit there for another 5 years and wreak havoc.
If you lace it with profanity, they will come.
And there's that. Who's your number 2?
My number 2, Hangman Page.
Adam Page.
Hangman Page. I feel like he's the sleeper out of the Bullet Club as far as like all of the guys who are super over major stars now. I feel like if WWE were to cherry pick him, they would turn him into something. He kind of reminds me of Edge. Not in-ring style, but just the way he looks when you see a photograph of Hangman Page. He reminds me of a young Edge.
Would you compare him, and this is just from my personal perspective, would you say a fair assessment of him would be the equivalent of Arn Anderson to the Horseman as an enforcer?
That makes sense. Kind of like it's modernized, but yeah. Like he's the guy that, may not waste a whole lot of time mincing words and just hit you with a roll of quarters.
If I'm not mistaken, and back in the day, wasn't Wild Bill Irwin one of the wild cards of the Dangerous Alliance?
I do not remember
that. I kind of remember Wild Bill Irwin being in a faction, and I want to say it was a Dangerous Alliance, and he was more or less, like, it was after his brother had passed, but he was more or less like the loose cannon. And if there was ever anyone that was just unhinged, that if you had to put a black felt cloth over his head to calm him down, it would be Hangman Page in the Bullet Club.
I felt like, I don't remember much of Wild Bill Irwin during his WCW days. I felt like he was more of an enhancement talent during his time in WCW.
No, I'm speaking specifically AWA. Anything post AWA doesn't count in my book.
Oh, well, AWA, Wild Bill Irwin, I will defer to you on all things AWA until I'm able to watch it.
We'll have to do an AWA episode one of these days.
Good
they
God.
They had a good run too in the 80s.
I just remember coming home from school and it being on ESPN.
The Saturday night stuff was way better than the stuff that was on in the afternoons.
Yeah, I only remember it being on ESPN and it was like, okay, it's wrestling, so I'm going to leave it on here.
Yeah, I would literally watch Pool on ESPN and then it would fade into AWA from Las Vegas.
Who you got?
Number 1.
Ooh,
yeah. Black Machismo. Jay Lethal. Yeah. Ooh.
Please don't make him rehash that.
Man, listen.
If he comes up, like
more than just being Black Machismo, more than just having just an incredible moveset and never touching WWE, his impression of Ric Flair when he was in Impact and TNA, oh my God. If Ric Flair gives you the compliment of saying that you're good enough to be him, and then Ric Flair plays it down as if he's like the super heel, like you can't be me, only I can be me. Google Jay Lethal, Ric Flair. It'll give you the biggest laugh as a wrestling fan for about 5 minutes.
It's incredibly viral at this point. I think most people who don't even watch wrestling have seen that. But it's hilarious.
But now, even though Jay Lethal is no longer in the House of Truth and he's pretty much standing on his own, he has had the New Japan, the ROH World Heavyweight title. He also simultaneously held the ROH World Television title. He was in a tag team with Consequences Creed. You know him as Xavier Woods in WWE. The man's track record is impeccable.
I feel like he would be fantastic in NXT. I don't know what they would plan for him if they moved him past that. And the only reason I say that is because of the writing that's going on for talent right now on WWE TV. There are certain people that I need to be in charge before you start bringing up a Jay Lethal and people like that.
I can dig it. Who's your number one?
My number one, Bud Smokers Only, Matt Riddle.
Oh, Mr. MMA himself.
The day they get slack on this drug testing, that guy is going to be Cash Money Records for the 99
and 2000.
And the 2000. That guy has money written all over him. He just smokes dope.
And we see what happened to Rob Van Dam. It wasn't a good look for him.
Yeah, but I mean, Van Dam got pretty far smoking dope.
Yeah, it's not getting far now. Wouldn't get far. All right, so 5-1. See how good my memory is. My number 5 was.
This is why you should write it down.
Huh?
This is why you should write it down.
You're absolutely right. Full life shoulder. Who was my number 5?
Hell, I don't remember your number 5.
Number 5, Shane Strickland. Number
Okay,
4,
yeah, Kill Shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4, Tomohiro Ishii.
Right.
Number
Stone
3,
Pitbull.
Jay White.
Yeah.
Number 2, Keith Lee. Number 2B, Jay Briscoe.
Yeah.
Number 1, Jay Lethal.
There you go.
What was your top 5?
My number 5, the Human Tornado, who actually I read recently retired in 2018. Congratulations on retiring healthy, although I do still feel like you have some money left on the table. My number 4, Pentagon Jr. Number 3, Walter.
Walter.
Number 2,
Hansel?
Walter.
Hansel.
Walter. Number 2, Hangman Page. Number 1, Smoke Dope every day.
Every day.
Matt Riddle.
Back to my number 2, 2B.
The next episode should be his entrance music. They should pay for the next episode to be his entrance music.
I done.
Hey, 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 hey.
Smoke weed every day.
Every day. We need women. We need Broken Pencil Nation. The pencil pushers out there. We need you to recommend some women.
Is that our fan base?
The pencil
The
pushers.
pencil pushers.
We need the pencil pushers out there on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and at the brokenpencilbc@gmail.com. Send us some ladies.
Hashtag.
We want this list to be inclusive. I was looking for ladies. I didn't see anybody that really stuck out to me. And again, I haven't watched as many indies as I probably should have.
Hashtag you can't write this. Hashtag
Broken Pencil Logic.
Hashtag
Mark my words.
Hashtag folk life shouty.
Tell them how to spell that so they don't be out here misrepresenting the hashtag.
Hashtag FOKELYFE. Folk life.
SHAWTY.
Are we gonna add the shouty or you just gonna keep it at folk life?
You gotta put shout on.
All right, SHAWTY. So FOKELYFE SHAWTY. Folk life shouty.
That should be a shirt because you can get away with that.
Easy.
Folk life.
What does that mean? Say it aloud.
Folk
Say
life.
it slow.
Folk life shout.
All right. So where do we go from here? We got HBK, Punk. We got Brock. We got gimmick matches. We got Money in the Bank predictions.
Flip a coin. I picked the first one. You picked this one.
All right. Gimmick matches.
Gimmick matches. So, top 5 gimmick matches of all time. Like, I've got a top 5, and then I've got a 5 honorable mention.
Let's just run through the honorables, and then we'll go ahead and hit them with the list.
All right, honorable mentions.
Are they honorable or dishonorable? Because we talked about a bunch of different types of matches.
I mean, it depends. Like, some of the footage on these matches may be dishonorable, but the concept themselves, if done correctly, I feel like could be very, very honorable.
Oh, that's so racist. Let's do this.
But I speak English.
I don't speak English. What was that? Like 16 candles?
I'm not certain.
Yeah. Do your Google 16 candles.
Number 1 on my honorable mention list. Spin the wheel, make the deal.
Shouts out to Eric Bischoff, possibly Dusty Rhodes, possibly Bill Watts, whoever was responsible in WCW back around 1992.
1992 and 1993's Halloween Havocs were synonymous with spin the wheel, make the deal.
Didn't we get a Jake Roberts Sting match out of that?
We did, and we got the most horrible Sting Jake Roberts match we could have possibly gotten, but the intrigue was there for me as a kid.
It is on the WWE Network. Please take the time to do a search for that.
It is terrible.
And if I'm not mistaken, if I had to bet money, dollars to donuts, that probably begot the Raw Roulette, courtesy of Eric Bischoff. The gimmick match juggernaut that he was.
The watered down version of Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal ended up being Raw Roulette. But Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal, for me as an 8-9-year-old kid, was the greatest thing ever conceived. Because there was an element of danger. There was an element of surprise. I feel like had you rigged it a little more, you could have got some really entertaining matches out of that. Just the fact that you don't know what the match is going to be before the bell rings.
So here's the issue that I had with that particular one in 92 was the fact that I grew up in the Mid-South area, and we saw Ted DiBiase against Hacksaw Jim Duggan in a coal miner's glove match. And
I don't even know what a coal miner's glove is.
Oh, you don't? That was actually the stipulation for the match between Jake Roberts and Sting.
No, but that's what I'm saying. At the time, I had no clue what a coal miner's glove was, and it didn't make any sense.
It's just a big leather glove with buckles on the knuckles, and that's pretty much all it was. I had no idea if coal miners actually used this glove or not, but it made your hand look really big, almost like the Nintendo Power Glove.
That just seems terrible.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it packed a punch. You know, you put it on Duggan or DiBiase back in '85. You know, it may have looked real serious, but on Sting and Jake Roberts in '92, not too much.
I felt like you should have been able to rig the wheel, come up with a better match, decide. Hey, if the crowd cannot know what the match is before the bell rings, but everyone participating should know.
The rigged wheel came with Raw Roulette. What else we got on this? We'll be on this all day.
Feast or Fired from TNA fame.
Feast or Fired. Now, you had the TNA X Division title. You had the TNA Heavyweight title.
Right.
The TNA Tag titles. And then you had a contract termination inside one of 4 briefcases.
So it's like it's a version of Money in the Bank. This was like TNA's counter to Money in the Bank, wasn't it?
For the most part, it just they had to up it one.
I like the idea of doing that and then having the option to up it one, and then was it option
C?
Option C,
which is if you wouldn't have the X Division title and you want to cash it in for a chance for the heavyweight title, courtesy of Austin Aries, then you could do that.
I feel like that's just an interesting concept. It builds intrigue, and then it's always a way to, if someone's getting ready to go, they're leaving, but you don't necessarily want to job them out the traditional way. Or if they're just going to go on a tour, like they got dates in Japan or something, so they're going to be off TV for a couple of months, or they're injured.
Because God forbid they have to go under a mask and come back as the Midnight Rider.
Oh.
We'll talk about that here very shortly. Very shortly. What else we got on the honorables?
For folks who can't pay their wages. Hard times. Ultimate X.
I loved Ultimate X just because the competitors you have, Homicide, Suicide, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles,
Frankie Kazarian,
Jerry
Chris
Lynn, Kid Cash,
Alex Shelley,
the player from the Himalayas, Sanjay
Dutt, yeah.
Petey Williams,
the Canadian Destroyer. Eric Williams.
Oh man, Eric Young.
Oops.
Yeah, Eric Young.
Team Canada as a whole, because you had Scott D'Amore out there going in.
And what's my man Primetime Elix Skipper?
Yeah, Elix was flexing for a little while in like the early 2000s. Elix was earning his money.
He earned his bread.
That was TNA had something for a small second.
And they're trying to bring it back with all this Canadian influence they have with Anthem. But hey, as we said before, fuck that owl.
God, man.
What else we got?
per your request, the entire Lockdown pay-per-view made this honorable mention list. The concept of having a pay-per-view with all cage matches.
Yeah, so in the early days of this newer generation that we count, so it's like 70s, 80s, the cage match symbolized the blow-off
Right.
of a great feud. Feud that probably lasted about a year. So the TNA Lockdown pay-per-view was basically the blow-off pay-per-view of the year for all feuds to end and new ones to begin. Every match was some type of cage match. And I encourage you, if you have whatever their equivalent to their streaming app is, or if you have, there's a TV network that's on Pluto that's for free. I forgot what it is, but they play a lot of old TNA stuff for free. I encourage you, if you see anything that says Lockdown, to watch it, because if it's back prior to 2014, it's probably pretty damn good.
Except for this one time they did an electrified cage.
That involved the greatest
tag team wrestlers of all time. It's true, and I still have problems with it because they weren't my favorite tag team. So it's almost like I have issues admitting that. But yeah, they're the most decorated tag team wrestlers of all time.
Team 3D, the Dudley Boys, were in this match, and they had thunder, lightning, and a shaking cage to simulate that for us at home.
It was very WCW 1991. But it was like the mid-2000s when it happened.
And I'm sure the crowd in attendance were wondering what the hell they
in the
got
Impact
for free.
Zone.
They didn't pay for it.
they did a cage match in the dark to sell the fact that it was electrified. Like, who does this?
Dixie Carter. All right. So is that enough for the honorables?
No, we got three more.
Run them down real quick. Let's do it.
More TNA stuff because we're getting all the indie stuff out in the beginning.
Oh man,
all the indie and non WWE stuff we're shouting all that out early.
For all the
Monsters Ball.
For all the great stuff TNA has ever done, you're hearing why a lot of this stuff is no longer around, or why people that were in positions of power and wrestlers that were in positions of power at TNA are no longer there, and they're going off to greener pastures. The Monsters Ball match is essentially a death match, Japanese death match.
The Americanization of the Japanese death match.
And the only person who was ever in them, for the most part, was Abyss.
Well, I mean, that's what he's made for. I hope the checks were dope.
I will never forget seeing Rob Van Dam literally kick his teeth out of his mouth in a match on live TV.
I need to go back and see that.
Oh, it happened.
I want to go back and see Abyss versus Sabu, just because, you know.
The homicidal, genocidal, suicide. Yeah.
Now we get out of TNA gimmick matches. The Iron Man match.
The Iron Man match is it's first of all, if I'm not mistaken, the Iron Man match just had to go. You just went, and pinfalls weren't counted. You just went. Am I correct in that? Like you had to go 60 minutes before you could determine a winner?
No, on these, well, the ones I'm most familiar with, especially starting in the early '90s, like the Ricky Steamboat versus Rick Rude, Dustin Rhodes and Rick Rude, and all the way up to Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, and even the Kurt Angle Brock Lesnar match in the 2000s. It would be most decisions in a 1 hour time limit or a 30-minute time limit.
Okay.
So pinfall, disqualification, submission, count out, whoever got the most victories, the most decisions in that allotted time was the winner.
So would you say Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels was the first 1 hour Iron Man match by that name?
No, because I want to say, well, no, I'm under the impression that well, fact check it for me. I thought Ricky Steamboat and Rick Rude went an hour, but they might have just went 30 minutes.
Okay, 1
should
hour.
Be Beach Blast 92.
Wow, jogging the memory.
Yeah. I told you the early 90s, mid 90s is kind of my wheelhouse when it comes to wrestling. Period.
All right, so let's go back to WCW.
Yup.
And no, both of those were 30 minutes.
Okay.
Rick Rude and Dustin Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, both were 30 minutes.
Okay. That might have been the first one that was billed as a 1 hour Iron Man match. So you might be right with that.
All of the ones in TNA, with the exception of one, I'm sorry, The longer ones in TNA, with the exception of one, all lasted 30 minutes. The other one was 31, 37. There were like 2 or 3 that were like less than 15 minutes. How the hell that's an Iron Man match? I don't know. Actually, the first 1 hour plus Iron Man match that I'm showing here, according to Wikipedia, was Flair versus Bret Hart.
Really?
At just a house show in '93 in Boston.
Hey, nothing on house shows in '93 was televised. We don't count that.
I beg to differ, because somehow, some way, all those house shows from the early '80s showed up on primetime TV.
Or they made it the Coliseum Video, but they weren't playing a whole 1 hour Bret Hart.
No,
Flair
you're
match.
absolutely right. Yeah, that was not happening.
That would have been the whole episode.
Yeah, so there was a 30-minute match on Raw. Let's see here.
You might not have seen one till
It looks like the only one that was televised, the first one that was televised was Brett versus Shawn at
WrestleMania 12
7, or 12, yeah, WrestleMania 12.
What's the date on that Angle Lesnar Iron Man match on Raw?
Angle versus Lesnar
Should be 2002.
September 2003.
3. Okay.
Yeah, that was definitely an hour.
Yeah, they took up a whole hour of TV time. I was like, wow, they really did this on television.
And if I'm not mistaken,
and that's during NFL season.
And they played it like it was live too. So it was like, even the commercial breaks, the match was still going on during commercial breaks. So it was a legit hour.
Yeah, they went hard. They went in.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Last on my list, in honor of Dusty Rhodes Day.
Hard times, if you will.
Battle Bowl, baby. The Lethal Lottery.
The Lethal Lottery. Where competitors hop into the tournament that created, manufactured, if you will.
I'll be honest with you. If you try to watch these on the WWE Network, you're going to be like, Suave's out of his mind. But the concept is dope. You put together these tag teams at random. These tag teams compete, and the winners advance to a battle royal.
You had
a double ring battle royal at that.
Scripted faces, scripted heels on the same squad when you had definition between these characters.
I feel like you could get one hell of a 3-hour Raw out of this concept.
How often would you want to see it? I'll probably say like once every 18 months. Give it enough time to marinate.
Yeah, once a year and a half.
I would say year and a half, because once a year you look forward to it. If it's every year and a half, you can sprinkle that 6-month period.
I feel like you could do it to coincide with the draft or a superstar shakeup or something. Okay. And then you could determine like a number one contender out of it.
All right.
It's got to mean something.
So running down, those are the honorable mentions. Let's go ahead and take a break.
Let's do that.
And when we come back, we'll go with the top 5. We'll just rip right through them. The top 5 gimmick matches of all time, as predicted by, or as given to you by the Broken Pencil Booking Company.
Heads up, pencils down. Make sure you got your hot chips within reach.
Hey, fans, we'll be right back. All right, we are back. Hope you enjoyed your little break. I don't know what the hell you possibly could have done, because by the time I edit this down, you probably had about 30 seconds and a nice little tune in the middle. Whatever. In real time, it translates to about 14 minutes. We got some water.
If you hit the pause button in the drive-through, you can get your number 8.
Yeah. But like I said, it's no rules. This is what we do.
Gravy.
Wood Burgundy, Broken Pencil Booking Company, Broken Pencil BC on all things social, brokenpencilbc@gmail.com. We are on our top 5 gimmick matches.
Yup.
Where we left off at, we're talking about battle in honor of Dusty Rhodes.
we did our honorable mentions.
Virgil Runnels, if you will.
Dusty Rhodes Day. And we ended off on Battle Bowl for our honorable mentions. So now we're getting down to the actual list.
Number 5.
Loser leaves town.
Loser leaves town. This is something near and dear to my heart, because every territory had a loser leave town. 9 times out of 10, if somebody lost and they left town, they were going to the territory that you could not see, because it was out of your viewing area. And if they came back to your territory and it was within 90 days, they were under a mask.
Shout out to the Midnight Rider.
Midnight Rider, Stagger Lee. He's another one.
Yeah.
But Midnight Rider was Dusty under a mask, and also Bill Watts under a mask. Yeah. Who else were great for Loser League? I'm sure Lawler left town a couple times, even though it was his territory.
Hogan came back under a mask as Mr. America.
All the greats left town during the territory days.
All the greats have come back under a mask. You ain't Hall of Fame worthy if you ain't never put a mask on. Ric Flair put on a mask as the Black Scorpion. You ain't shit if you ain't never put a mask on.
He was the man. He was shot calling. He put on a mask.
Good God.
Number 4.
War Games. I shouldn't have ranked War Games so low, but this is in no particular order.
The match beyond, again, the greatest Dusty Rhodes creation, hands down.
Yup.
You had a culmination of 1 year's worth of feuds and a random pay-per-view in the middle of the fall. Or was it late summer? Whatever the case may be. It was like September-ish.
Fall, yeah. Early fall.
Your mainstays were Dusty Rhodes.
Right.
The Horsemen.
Arn Anderson was in damn near every one of them. Arn was in almost every War Games until like 97.
You had the Horsemen, you had Dusty Rhodes, and for a nice stretch, you had the LOD. You had the Road Warriors.
Sting was in his fair share. Sting was carrying those matches for a while.
If Sting wasn't in the world title picture, he was in War Games.
Which I don't understand why they didn't. But that's another conversation for another episode. Why they didn't just ride that train all the way till the wheels broke off of it.
That being said, one reason why I could probably say that this match probably would have gone far under the radar, may even have been an honorable mention, but it's now on our list, is because of what happened at NXT TakeOver War Games last fall. My God, they had 3 teams.
You know, there are a lot of people who don't really like that match. They don't like that it's not true to the original War Games format.
You know what? Name something that was popping back then that is still true to form as it is right now, including the Iron Man match. Because I just was educated that the Iron Man match was 30 minutes originally. I thought the whole time it was an hour, but it was actually 30 minutes.
Gotta be honest with you. I mean, everything has to,
Yeah, if you
evolve
stop
and adapt.
If you stop growing, you've already died. So, I mean, I was on the fence because I mean they're the obvious ones. I mean, the obvious things are there was no rhyme or reason as to how this story took place. It was just it was chaos that led to a situation. There was no reason why Roderick Strong should have teamed with the AOP. There was no reason for that, other than the fact that you created a 3-man team. You had the Adam Cole, bevy, the UE make their heralded debut for the most part as a unit at this pay-per-view, or actually in this match. And sadly, who was the third team?
Sanity.
Sadly, they go under the radar, and by far, Killian Dane was one of the MVPs of that match.
Speaking of which, in a kind of unrelated note, Sanity is on SmackDown, and you haven't seen hide nor hair of them yet. Something major is planned for them because they haven't debuted on TV yet.
Something tells me they will be heavily involved in this match on Sunday. We'll get to predictions on that.
Okay, that's what's up.
All right. So, but yeah, I think that match is probably one of the reasons why it's on our list and not a blip on the radar, because you and I both thought very highly of that match.
We did.
Yeah. Number 3.
In no particular order, even though this is in the number 3 slot, the Elimination Chamber.
I like that match because of the timing of it. The cage match had gotten boring.
True.
You had to do something to prepare for WrestleMania without having a WrestleMania grandiose build-up, while still keeping the attention off WrestleMania being 6 weeks away from when this match had actually a pay-per-view that was named after it.
Vince notoriously can't stand tournaments, so what better way to either crown a new champion, a transitional champion into WrestleMania, or get a number 1 contender without a tournament concept than to put 6 people in the ring. The 6-pack challenge never just really worked for me. It wasn't a big deal.
The only way it works is in the Elimination Chamber. The
Right.
only way a gauntlet match works is in the Elimination Chamber. And mind you, you don't even have to be pinned for the next person to come in the Elimination Chamber. It's just that it's the last man standing. 6 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Makes perfect sense to me.
And in true Thunderdome fashion, it looks like the Thunderdome. The only thing you're missing are motorcycles.
True. this is true.
Number 3.
Now we're at number 2. Numero dos.
Oh, I'm sorry. Number 2.
Money in the Bank.
Why not? This the pay-per-view we're talking about. The whole reason why we're on right now is because of, well, that and 5 times. Money in the Bank pay-per-view is coming up this coming Sunday, June 17th on the WWE Network, live on pay-per-view.
And to expound on it, just all versions of the ladder match. We're just going to encompass all of that. TLC, Money in the Bank, the traditional 2-person ladder match. If there's a ladder involved and a prize hanging above the ring,
With the exception of the King of the Mountain match.
I'm not sure what that is.
Don't ask. Reverse ladder match. Look it up. King of the Mountain TNA. It's another TNA clusterfuck.
And in the number 1 slot,
What you got?
Hell in a Cell.
The cure-all, end-all, be-all to blow-off matches.
Violence.
Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens was probably number 2 on this list. By all intents and purposes, you know what number 1 is. It's only one. There is one, and then there's all things that are completely underneath it. It is Undertaker versus Mick Foley at SummerSlam 1998.
King of the Ring 98.
Was it King of the Ring?
Yep.
Okay, I'm thinking SummerSlam.
You're in my wheelhouse, bro.
Oh, well,
I wasn't doing anything other than watching pay-per-views at this point.
That's another topic of discussion. How the hell was a Hell in the Cell match at the King of the Ring pay-per-view? Was that feud that violent?
Yes.
Yeah, I was in college at that time, and I remember watching the videotape 2 days after because somebody recorded the pay-per-view and brought it to the office. And when they that was my reaction when Foley got thrown through that table.
I remember watching it live, and there have been very few moments that I'm watching and my jaw dropped, even as a teenager, where I was like, oh my God, what did they do? That was one of them.
Pausing a videotape and saying, "Is that a tooth?" I remember that. Like it was yesterday.
I didn't realize it was a tooth till like sometime after that. I thought he just had a booger hanging out of his nose. Like that's a tooth that went up through his lip. But as far as ranking Hell in a Cell matches, like that's a good episode for us to do. But I would have Shawn Michaels Undertaker in the inaugural Hell in a Cell above Shane and KO.
Something for you guys to look forward to in October. And if you have your suggestions, email us brokenpencilbc@gmail.com. Hit us on brokenpencilbc on all things social. Hashtag Broken Pencil Logic, hashtag You Can't Write This, hashtag Folk Life Shouted, and hashtag Mark My Words. Man, we got a lot of hashtags. We keep coming with hashtags. We're going to have a whole Twitter.
We're going to narrow this down to a hot 3 to 5. I think 3 might be, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
No, we don't even have to explain these. I mean, we can just literally throw them out there. First off, we're looking. I'm looking at my my computer screen for my co-host here, and it shows Shawn Michaels squaring off against Seth Rollins. Now we're going to talk about the top 5 possible Shawn Michaels returns for one-off.
So
Seth Rollins, easy.
Yeah,
easy.
For those of you who don't know, Shawn Michaels did an interview not that long ago and kind of alluded to the fact that he might be open to the idea of one more match, which set the internet on fire, had everyone thinking about what could possibly come from it, who would he wrestle, under what circumstances, and it kind of grew legs and took off running with a mind of its own.
Got a life of its own. I kind of feel some kind of way about it because I thought he was the last of the Mohicans for real. I thought the Undertaker retiring him, as a respect to Undertaker, he would stay retired.
And then he came back and kind of cleaned those statements up, so he still may be the last of the Mohicans.
Right. So we'll see. But for now, for the sake of this conversation and this podcast, we are going to give you 5 possible dream opponents off the top of our head. Now, they're on Bleacher Report, they have a list. So if you want to check out their list, please do. Off the top of my head, the first one I'm going to say is Seth Rollins. You have not necessarily the leader, but architect of the Shield versus the original leader of the Generation X. It's just like passing of the torch. You know Shawn Michaels is not going to go over. He's already over. He's actually Teflon. So is Seth Rollins, but he's still relevant and as a competitor. I think Seth Rollins gets the Duke on that one if that ever happens.
I tell you what, since I have a pretty decent list made out, whenever you name one that I have, I'm going to just delete it, and then I'm going to substitute one that I have.
Is
mine.
Rollins on your list?
Yeah, he was.
Daniel Bryan, I know he's on your list.
Yeah.
Teacher versus student, the classic tale.
So I can delete that. Give me
Yes,
another one.
there's another one.
That's 2.
Let's go to NXT.
All right.
Why not? The MVP. Ooh, there's 2. There's 2.
I got one from NXT
There's
too. I'm
2.
hoping you don't steal my thunder.
No. I have. I'm not going to steal your thunder. I don't think. But I have 2 from NXT. They're in the same faction. They're both in the UE. And
Go ahead.
oh man,
Damn, son. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm only saying this as if it's a triple threat match. I want Roddy Strong and I want Adam Cole.
I wanted Adam Cole just by himself.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and take him off the list. So give me 2 more.
Make a new guy. The newest stud in NXT. There's only one person that fits this bill that Shawn Michaels could get in the ring with and tell some things to and take him to the next level.
Who's that?
The Dream. In honor of Dusty Rhodes, the Velveteen Dream.
It's a pretty good pick. I didn't have that guy on my list.
That only because of his work in the last 6 to 9 months, I have never in all my years of being a wrestling fan seen anybody do the things that he's done in this short amount of time, coming fresh off the streets into a wrestling ring.
That's a good pick. Give me one more.
One more. The obvious answer would be AJ Styles.
And I had him on my list. I'm going to take him off.
We're pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, now I made a pretty long list just because I tried to overbook. But yeah,
You surprised me. I didn't think I thought I was gonna miss you with that UE pick, but
no. Adam Cole was right there.
Now, that being said, honorable mention. You bring him in for one off. You bring Shawn Michaels in for one off. You have a pay-per-view that has a life of its own around this one match.
Who that is?
The IWGP Intercontinental Champion, Chris Jericho.
It would be dope to see them do it now, but because we've seen them do it on a really high level at a WrestleMania, I didn't even think to put him on the list.
It's not even so much as the fact that them doing it on a high level. The Chris Jericho we're seeing now is not like any Chris Jericho we've ever seen.
This is true.
In fact, the Chris Jericho we're seeing now is a combination and an amalgamation of all Chris Jerichos going back to 1990. Every single one of them.
Chris Jericho may be an alien.
Chris Jericho is the only other person that I think of that could outdo Cody Rhodes for Wrestler of the Year right now.
Wow. That's pretty bold. Okay. Here's my list. And most of these are either going to be because I think they're going to put on the best match with Shawn Michaels, or I can build the best story that makes me want to watch this.
Run them.
Dolph Ziggler.
Explain.
Because Dolph Ziggler has been running around with the Shawn Michaels circa 1995 through 6, almost 7 gimmick for about 5 years now.
You can't see me shaking my head, yes, but I'm emphatically shaking my head, yes.
So I absolutely want to tell that story. That, Shawn comes back and Ziggler's looking for some acceptance, some adoration, some praise for how well he works and sells, gets shunned, and Ziggler fucking loses it. I mean, Ziggler loses it to the point he stops wearing the boots like Shawn, he stops wearing the tights like Shawn, he cuts his hair, he puts a suit on, gets real straight. He almost turns into a version of Chris Jericho when Chris Jericho was... Do you understand the words that I am saying right now? Like
the
that
the snarky, super intelligent.
Right.
I'm better than you, Chris Jericho.
Right, become that guy, and then that match means so much more. Samoa Joe.
That has the makings of a massacre, depending on which Joe we get, and that's the thing.
And that's exactly why.
Joe's the wild card
because Samoa Joe is the nasty, vicious killer heel that Shawn can sell for 15 minutes. Just unmitigated ass kicking.
I'm salivating at this list. Pause. Continue.
The Miz.
The MVP.
I feel like The Miz has earned a high profile match like this.
He deserves.
It's more about story.
He deserves one match as validation for all the hard work that he's put in more so over the last 3 years.
Right.
If for no other reason, what he's done single-handedly over the last 3 years is enough to warrant him to get that Hall of Fame caliber match.
And if you're not gonna let him beat Cena, and you really don't have an understanding about what Daniel Bryan's contract situation is gonna be going forward, I feel like that's as good of a consolation prize as you can get. Because honestly, I feel like The Miz should beat Daniel Bryan when they meet up. I do. I just do.
Correct me if I'm wrong, when post NXT, didn't Daniel Bryan beat Miz on Raw a couple times?
Yeah.
And that was with A-Rod was in his corner, right? Was it Miz in the corner?
I'd have to go
Well,
back.
we have to go back to WWE Network for that one, but I'm sure that was on an episode of Raw too. It was those were legit throwaway matches that actually had emotional implications.
Yeah, but I feel like if you build around the story of the greatest Intercontinental Champion ever, and then Shawn interjects himself, and then that's the basis of their dissension. And Miz always saying he kind of looked up to him, and it makes sense. That story makes sense.
It makes total sense. Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. That's Ziggler, Joe, Miz. In the same, I guess I'll amend my Samoa Joe pick. I'll put him together with this other massive heel, a heel Strowman.
Ooh,
because
Michaels.
Same premise.
Michaels is going out for like 9 months.
Same premise.
You do understand Michaels is going out for 9 months and will come back. It would not be a one-off match.
You would use HBK to get Strowman over as a heel, just an absolute disrespectful, vicious, snarling, growling, foaming at the mouth heel.
That cannot be a one-off match though. If that happens,
No, he got to jump him, put him out, and then get a rematch, get an actual match later, and then you can do run-ins a little bit after that.
The possibilities are and Braun Strowman is so damn good. The possibilities are endless. You could that I can see Strowman coming in as a super heel, putting out Shawn Michaels, in the midst of Michaels being out, doing a double turn where Michaels becomes the heel and Strowman becomes the face, and Strowman still gets over.
Okay.
It's happened before.
These are truths. It has worked before.
And number one,
I made Strowman an amendment, so he's like him and Joe are sharing the same spot because they have the same story.
Got you. Okay.
So I got 2 more left.
All right.
Kevin Owens.
Go ahead. Hey.
That's my alarm going off.
Turn.
Hey. Shout out to Don Tripp. Yeah, Kevin Owens. Just because Kevin Owens works well with everyone. He's like, what alcohol mixes well with everything?
Vodka.
Yeah, like Kevin Owens is like vodka. Vodka. He just mixes. He goes well with everything.
With everything, yeah.
You can mix him with everything. And I feel like you can tell a really good story because he can play the vicious heel, or he can play the smart ass, or he can do whatever needs to be done to make that story good. Plus, the matches are going to be excellent.
I just watched him pop every smart in the world with 2 words tonight at the beginning of Monday Night Raw when he said "hard times" on Dusty Rhodes Day. It doesn't get any more engaging than that.
Exactly. Now here's my number 1 wild card. No one's going to expect this. Heel Dean Ambrose.
Ooh.
Heel Dean Ambrose, and that way when they have the match, you don't have to wrestle. It could be a street fight. You could take it back to Shawn Michaels of 2002 versus Triple H at SummerSlam and just go street fight aspect.
So do we get both guys in jeans?
Yes. Jeans and wife beaters, bro.
The Invitational.
Fight to the death. The wife beater Invitational.
Man, I could even see. I could though. In that ring attire, I could see those two forming a tag team for 3 months with a vicious, I killed your dog and I'm about to bake your cat heel turn from Ambrose on Michaels.
I'm about to bake your cat. Good God. And I didn't put any Samoans on this list because everybody, I think, knows the story about, HBK and The Rock and how that, might not go as well as everyone thinks. But that's the dream match that everyone wanted to see and never got. And I did put Roman on this list, but I do know Roman would work.
I want factions. When I hear Samoans, I still think about my dream of seeing the Samoan dynasty as a faction.
You have to get your numbers down to get the Samoan dynasty. You're gonna have to get down to about 7 max.
And we can't get the GODs from New Japan, can we?
Nah, fam. Have you seen them?
I've heard.
like just watch a match of theirs and just hear them in the ring. There's no way you clean that up for, child consumption.
Yeah.
They can all kick it, in public, but you're not gonna get
Camacho was his name, is who we're talking about. He was Micah in TNA. He's Camacho in WWE. He's actually Haku's son.
Shout out to the entire Samoan dynasty.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Let's move forward.
What else we got? We've already covered top 5 non-WWE from both of us. We did the top 5 gimmick matches, top 5 HBK one-offs.
We got 2 left.
Punk.
CM Punk recently got his ass kicked into the dirt.
CM Punk also saved himself the tune of upwards of $8 million.
He won and lost in the same week. Like he won his court case with Colt Cabana and the WWE doctors, so he saved himself some money, even though he had been hemorrhaging money fighting this situation. And then he went to UFC 225, and I'll be honest, he probably wasn't completely focused because you can't go to court that many times and remain completely focused as you need to be to go into a cage and fight. But things didn't work out quite so well in the cage.
Not at all. And
he did it for the life experience because that's about all he got that night.
But here are the elephants in the room. According to the internets and other sources,
right?
He is friends with Matt and Nick, the Young Bucks. Mm-hmm. On the day of the All In press conference,
he was there.
CM Punk just happened to go down to Pro Wrestling Tees Superstore and buy some Pro Wrestling T-shirts during the press conference, and it seemed to be quote unquote circumstance that CM Punk lives in Chicago. It's his hometown, and that's where the press conference was.
He's also doing an autograph session the weekend of All In.
He's doing an autograph session
at
the weekend of All In.
ProWrestlingTees.com, their flagship store.
Yeah. All the writings on the wall for some type of interaction. He may not have a match book, but he may be there just to show face. And even though they're sold out, they could always use the extra press that CM Punk showed up at a wrestling event.
I need to hear an announcement about some type of live stream or some type of internet pay-per-view. I need to hear that so that I can prepare myself.
I would guess that we're going to get an internet pay-per-view, and I will be willing to pay. For an internet stream, I'll be willing to pay $10 for a one-off.
I'll drop that off.
I'm sure it's going to be $5, but I'm sure.
Will it?
Yeah, internet pay-per-views, man, they come cheap. Ben
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
I'd gladly drop that.
I might do it twice. It's on GP just to show the support.
All right.
So by the time that this pay-per-view happens
in September,
it could be very well possible that Cody Rhodes would be the IWGP champion and the Ring of Honor champion going against Nick Aldis, who is the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and that would put Cody Rhodes as a 3-time world champion simultaneously, something that I don't think has ever been done with reputable belts ever in the history of pro wrestling.
That's pretty dope.
That being said, this is about CM Punk. It's not about Cody Rhodes. I would like to see CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes.
The one match I've heard tossed around for All In is CM Punk and Kenny Omega.
That's my next one. I would like to see that. In fact, I would like to see CM Punk run against the whole Bullet Club at one point in time or another. The entire Bullet Club, all facets of the Bullet Club, and we can put that as just one match.
We've seen CM Punk say some things recently, like make some statements in some interviews that kind of push him away from returning to wrestling. Not really sure.
It pushes him away from returning to WWE.
Now he said some other stuff that just like
I've heard the same things.
Right.
But I'm more leaning towards that meaning WWE and not meaning wrestling.
I got you. So, yeah, Cody, Kenny. I would say a match with Colt Cabana.
That would be that should be the blood feud that we want. Two friends turn enemies, turn
Co-defendants.
Cody's
My Cody.
in a civil trial
Right.
worth millions.
Millions of dollars. And you know the millions are coming from one guy.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean they were going to have to end up. I think it was going to be like 3.4 million was the actual lawsuit, and then there was also a stipulation for punitive damages.
But then there's court fees, lawyer fees.
And
like
attorney fees.
He's
Oh,
been
man.
hemorrhaging money for like the last 2 years.
Just to save his ass, not even his reputation, just to save his ass. Meanwhile, he was destroying the doctor's reputation, who apparently didn't need any help since he lost the case. Who else could you think of?
The best one I have on my list that would make sense and no one would have to go anywhere near WWE is to see CM Punk versus Chris Jericho with no constraints on character.
That's a layup. That could easily sell out any arena in the world for the highest of dollar, only because of what Chris Jericho has been able to do over the last year.
So that's 4. My top spot is 2 people sharing the top spot. One of these has no chance of happening.
No chance in hell.
Right. One of these has no chance. The other has no chance in hell of happening.
Okay.
The no chance in hell of happening is Vince McMahon. Either McMahon, Shane or Vince.
I don't think he has beef with Vince though.
But it's about the money. You're coming back for a one-off match that's going to make a bunch of money. So Punk's biggest thing, one of Punk's biggest things when he left WWE is the fact that he never main evented. He never went on last at WrestleMania. CM Punk versus Vince McMahon could close a WrestleMania. No matter how bad the actual match is going to be, the sell and the hype on that match could close a WrestleMania with no titles involved.
On the flip, could CM Punk and Shane close WrestleMania?
I don't think so. Maybe if Vince is at ringside, I think you need too much other window dressing to close WrestleMania with CM Punk and Shane.
Like Steve Austin as a special guest referee, or
you need a lot, and
Yeah.
then you need Shane to kind of take up for his father, take the place of his father. That's basically what you're saying. You're gonna have him take up for his father and kind of assume that role. So you could get there, but it doesn't sound like a show closer when you first say it.
all right. So, Doofus son-in-law. You don't think Triple H stands a chance closing WrestleMania against Punk?
I think they're just tired of doing that because that was the plan when he left.
Okay.
As far as what we were, let in on the internet, that was his direction for that WrestleMania when he left. For WrestleMania 30, that was his direction. Was supposed to be wrestling Triple H, fighting the Authority. That was going to be his WrestleMania storyline when he just said fuck it.
And I like those. The only one I would change is the last one. My top one for Punk to close out a WrestleMania as a one-shot deal is Rock. Virtually impossible.
Okay.
I wouldn't say no chance, but I'd say virtually impossible. And we never saw Punk and Rocky, did we?
Yeah, we did. Royal Rumble 20.
But it didn't matter. It wasn't the main event caliber match. It wasn't even like it was.
It was for the title. It was the lead in. It's just you knew they were going. Well, I guess you can't say you knew, but you pretty much had the idea that they were doing Rock Cena 2, and then the title was going to be involved.
Yeah, but Punk.
Or that's how they set it up.
But similar to Daniel Bryan and The Miz, Punk was nowhere near the level of important as he is right now. Back then, would you agree with that? Skill wise, I think he was there. I think he was main event player. He just wasn't the main event. He wasn't in the main event situation.
That was what ended the 434 day title run. So I mean, he was as over as he was gonna get in WWE without closing a WrestleMania. So it's like he's a legend. He's literally like Larry Zbyszko. He's a living legend. He's just walking around off old clout. And people are just hoping he's going to come back. And no one knows what he would be like if he came back because he's older. And just, time off will help. But you get older and things start to hurt that didn't hurt before.
The irony of what you just said, as far as Punk's title reign being 434 days, and the fact that our next topic or our next list has to deal with the new holder of the modern day record at 435 days for title reign, being Brock Lesnar.
Now, cap off that last list, I had a no chance in hell, which was, either McMahon. My no chance, Corey Graves.
I think that could happen.
They got real life beef right now.
Yeah, I think that could happen. I don't think it would ever happen in WWE. I would probably go so far as to say that if there's a possibility of that even happening, that WWE will respectfully release him and let him do a 90-day no compete after he completes his whatever this one off is, to have Punk versus him outside of WWE to make whatever business happen.
I kind of feel like if Punk ever comes back to WWE, let's say he comes back in the next 2 years, that has to be step one. That has to happen. Like, that has to be the first order of business. They have to get into some type of pull apart. Even if Corey can't work or they don't clear him to work, whatever the case may be, when Punk shows up, he needs to muff Corey Graves, and Corey Graves needs to come out of character with like a stiff right hand.
And Corey Graves is a former NXT Tag Team Champion.
I need a fist fight.
You're not going to get any type of swinging from Corey Graves, but you will get some physicality out of Punk.
I need a fist fight. I need Corey Graves to bare knuckles sock him right in his nose. We ain't friends no more, fam, because of where I work.
Yeah, I need waivers. I need to see waivers signed by Corey Graves.
I want a whole angle build. I want a lights out non-sanctioned match.
Where the lights actually go out and then come back on.
Yeah, you got to take that old school. Like, you've besmirched me.
Shouts out to New Orleans in the Superdome for the lights out match.
You've besmirched me, cuz. We got the box.
The lights out match has to be on the honorable mention for the gimmicks too.
Good God.
It's just a simple no holds barred match. It's, whatever.
And let's take one last break and then come back and do this last list.
Already. Broken Pencil BC on everything.
Heads up, pencils down. Run across the street, give me some hot chips.
I'm going to singles. And we're back. Just that fast. We got about 10 minutes worth of filler. I got a lot of these outtakes. I got like minutes. It's soon to be hours worth of outtakes. Eventually, they're going to make their way to the Broken Pencil podcast website. I mean, they'll be on the streams and subscriptions and whatnot. We're still trying to work out the Google Play thing. If you got any suggestions of how to expedite that process, hit us up. BrokenPencilBC@gmail.com. BrokenPencilBC on all things social. Hashtag you can't write this. Hashtag folk life shoulder. Hashtag mark my words. Hashtag broken pencil logic. Did I ever say that already?
I think I wasn't listening.
Okay, whatever. Don't matter. All right, so
you got them all.
Yes, yeah. Either you find any of those, you find us. That's what happens. Our final top 5 list. I don't even know why the hell I said I put that clock on that non-WWE list. That shit was, I don't know. Top 5 list final is going to be Brock Lesnar will lose to ... Now, the easy answer is going to be Roman Reigns.
I think what we should do right now, as a caveat, is just grandfather Roman Reigns, because we all know what's going to happen.
Agreed. I could not agree with you more.
Just don't put Roman on any of our top 5s. He's like Tupac Biggie status. Like, when you do your top 5 rappers, you just don't include Pac and Biggie because that's on everybody's list.
For all the wrong reasons, but go ahead. That's
right.
Another story too.
Yeah. So that's an old rule of mine. Like, when you make a top 5 list, you don't include Pac or Biggie. Otherwise, I don't believe you. Like, that's generic. You're just taking up spots that You just being
valuable spots that could go to more deserving people.
You're just being a jerk at that point. Like, you don't really listen to rap music. You're just doing something because it's popular. So what we're going to do is we're going to put Roman in the grandfather spot. Roman is going to be the one to unseat Brock Lesnar. Now, if they figure out how to do it and make people like it, that remains to be seen. But that's the guy.
On the flip side, the one person who I would love to see on the top 5 who there's no way we're putting him on this list. I'm sure I can speak for you on this one.
Uh-oh.
The one person we wanted to see that we don't give a fuck about?
Tanahashi.
No.
Okada.
No.
Kenny Omega.
No.
I'm just randomly.
I know you
people
are.
that are unsigned just because it's fun.
Go ahead, hit him. You go ahead. I'll let you do the honors.
Alberto Del Rio.
We'll be lucky to ever see him in that ring anywhere in the U.S. again.
It's AAA or bust. It is AAA to the death, fam.
All right. Brock Lesnar's opponent that we're not going to see
Who that?
on this top 5 list?
Who that?
The Destroyer, Bobby Lashley.
It's so sad.
First of all, I feel something in the pit of my stomach when I said the Destroyer and then followed it with Bobby Lashley. That's how bad this angle is.
They have crippled that man's credibility. They have cut his money off at the knees. It is sad to see what they have done to that man since WrestleMania, since the night after WrestleMania. That might be the fastest kill shot, no pun intended, from our earlier list.
Criminal.
Fastest career kill shot ever.
Criminal. The way they stole that opportunity away from him should be punishable by a court of law.
Like, who's been buried faster? Maybe Scott Steiner?
He did it to himself, though.
But yeah, I mean, part of that was injury. But I'm just saying, like, from debut as a main event caliber talent to like potential superstars. Main event.
I got it. We haven't seen anything this catastrophic since the Shockmaster's debut. Grand opening, grand closing.
Good God. I need someone better than this because, like, at least Bobby wrestled on TV and was over for a little bit before they killed it.
So that said, who can take this title off of Brock at SummerSlam?
I got my top 5 list. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have some of the same people.
I don't even have a top 5 list. I'm waiting to say yay or nay to your list, and I'm more than likely going to say yay.
I'm gonna go 1 to 5. Number 1, Samoa Joe.
Yay.
That's my pick.
Yay.
That's my guy. I was ringside for Great Balls of Fire, Joe versus Lesnar, and Joe should have been crowned that night.
He was not a made man. In fact, he was made to look like a little girl. However, Joe is great regardless.
Joe gave him a really hell of a decent 12-minute so-and-so match.
If we saw that match again this year, it would be safe to say that anybody that saw Great Balls of Fire last year, including those in attendance, Swap Burgundy, would forget about last year, and we would be happy about what's going on this year.
I'm gonna trick on my entertainment.
What you got for number 2?
Finn Balor.
Make me believe it. I'm with you. I agree, but make me believe it.
Well, the story is built in. He's never had a rematch, never had another title shot for the title that he never actually lost, the title he had to
No
hand
truer
over.
words have been spoken.
So at this point, I mean, Paul Heyman helped put him over. The only thing that's been holding him back, I guess, is the fact that they don't feel like he's ready or they don't feel like they want to put him in that position. But the longer you wait, the less over he is for that spot.
I want to tell you the one thing that makes this match credible to me as a much smaller competitor going against against Brock Lesnar is Finn's finisher. That coup de grace from the top rope. If you bring up the diverticulitis as a storyline in this and figure out some kind of way to have Finn Balor
start selling it like Brock's having troubles,
not having troubles, causing trouble because of such a damaging move to the midsection.
No, I mean, like, have Brock kind of sell it for a couple of weeks leading up to, like, he stumbles a little bit, like he's having a stomach ache and stuff like that.
I think it would take more than just him hitting it like randomly. I think we need to see like a chair shot to the stomach, like something that
or you want to build up to it. Like,
yeah,
have him hit the coup de grace like a couple of times.
I don't even want to see it until the pay-per-view.
I don't mind him hitting Brock like you see how he does Strowman sometimes, like across the back of the neck.
Yes.
I don't mind him setting it up like that. It's possible because Brock Lesnar, lost to Eddie Guerrero. So it's possible.
Yes.
It's possible for him to lose to a much smaller competitor because this guy is smaller than AJ.
Mm-hmm.
But it's possible. It's believable. I think you can build a hell of a story out of it. You got to cash in on the popularity of Finn Balor. Otherwise, what did you bring him for?
Very, very soon. Otherwise, the rainbow shirt means nothing.
Yeah, well.
Number 3.
Seth Rollins.
Obvious reasons there.
Obvious reasons.
WrestleMania 31, he stole the title and the Money in the Bank cash in at Mania. And Brock has I don't think Brock and Seth have had a one-on-one match since then.
Yeah,
I think it's been like either 4 ways or triple threats.
Yeah, not since that one they had lined up at what was that? I don't even remember the name of the paper.
I don't recall them even having a one-on-one.
They had one.
Okay.
They did have one. But yeah, Seth Rollins, the creator of the Brock Who hashtag, I honestly think someone told him to stop doing that. I think someone said stop doing that because he was basically booking his own angle on Twitter.
Yeah, the curb stomp, you got to get rid of that. Yeah.
It's just the stomp now. Like what? Like just call it what it is. We know what it is. You know what we're gonna call it when we see it. Just I understand the negative connotation. Sometimes you just got to let that ride.
I mean, call it gut stomp, even though he's hitting in the back of the head, but I think that has a negative connotation too. But yeah, I'm with Rollins.
Call it the 5-alarm fire since it's burn it down.
Burn it down, yeah. I don't get the burn it down thing either, other than the Lee press on fire on the tights. But
he doesn't do that anymore. Thank God.
I think that was a rib. I still to this day I think it was a rib.
I mean,
it is Booker T 5-time show. Maybe it's Booker T's old tights.
Next on the list, Braun Strowman.
Another obvious one.
Obvious.
Braun Strowman got his ass handed to him by Brock Lesnar, I believe twice.
Horrible move. As the main event of No Mercy. Horrible, horrible move. You gave away 2 WrestleMania matches at No Mercy.
On a throwaway.
Random.
On a throwaway pay-per-view, you gave away 2 WrestleMania matches.
Don't imagine if WrestleMania 34 had been those 2 matches from No Mercy. Cena and Roman, and then Strowman and Lesnar.
The magnitude...
That might have been greatest WrestleMania of all time.
The magnitude of the build of that Cena-Roman match actually elevated a 16,000 seat show to the possibility of selling out a 70 to 80,000 seat arena for that same show on an off night.
Then you ended up with nothing for Cena to do other than get squashed.
You had nothing for anyone to do post that.
Roman wouldn't have got booed out of the building because that was one of his stronger showings. He came out of his shell a little bit, only to end up slipping back because of poor booking. And you could have crowned Strowman.
And the load was inevitably shot that night because we got... we didn't care much for Mania, and I say that the public as a whole didn't, but we didn't get what we thought we were going to get, and I guarantee you, had we gotten that, we would have got a lot more bang for our buck than what we did this year versus what we got last year.
I could have understood pulling the trigger on that match if Cena just was going to miss WrestleMania altogether, or he had movie commitments that he wasn't going to make it. It just didn't make sense to do that at No Mercy, knowing you could have pulled that trigger later.
Maybe they thought they had lightning in the bottle and thought they were going to continue on the momentum, but you got to follow up. You got to capitalize on that booking. Strike while the iron's hot. Well, whatever cliche you have, that should have happened and it didn't.
That's been a low point for them for quite some time. Striking while the iron is hot, because Strowman should have been champion a year ago if that's the case.
Well, when these numbers start hurting again, we'll see the return of Attitude Era, and I'm guessing it's probably going to be around October 2019 on Fox. Man, what else you got?
Number 1. This one's kind of out of left field, but because of their history, it makes perfect sense. And if you just let everybody do what they know how to do, it might be a fairly interesting match. Shinsuke Nakamura.
You talking about 2 former IWGP champions?
Yes.
And I don't know, did they cross paths in New Japan before?
Yeah.
That would be very interesting in the new WWE because Brock was actually wrestling when he went to New Japan, and now he's just throwing people for the sake of saying they're wrestling moves.
Right. And Shinsuke can fight.
And I was going to say,
in real life.
Meanwhile, Shinsuke, the king of strong style, has dialed it back and is still landing pretty flush shots.
Like, I haven't seen anybody actually, and maybe it's just because Brock only wants to work one type of match. I haven't seen anybody that has all this background, except maybe Joe a little bit, stand up and fight Brock Lesnar.
You also keep in mind, Shinsuke is an anomaly. He's probably the only person in Japan that has the same height as Brock.
Right.
So, standing face to face, Brock doesn't look so huge. He's still bigger, but he doesn't look so big because they're both standing eye to eye with one another.
He doesn't dwarf Shinsuke. Same thing with Roman. Like, Roman's 6'3" too, but at the same time, Brock's just a bigger human being.
Right. Like, he's all, they say, he's all man.
Joe's the same size. He's just a couple of inches shorter. But see, like when Joe threw hands with Brock, everyone believed it because of Joe's background. You don't have a whole lot of people that can throw hands with Brock Lesnar and it be believable. Joe and Shinsuke are on that list. I wish they would book Roman to be on that list like that, but maybe he just can't. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
I'm right there with you. I totally agree. How say you? Do we do these Money in the Bank predictions, or do we wait till we do the Money in the Bank reaction show and get predictions pre-matches?
I feel like we've given them a full show.
All right. As always, Broken Pencil BC on all things social. Broken Pencil Logic, hashtag you can't write this, hashtag mark my words, hashtag Folk Life Shawty.
Folk Life Shawty.
Broken Pencil BC at Gmail.
Yep. Broken Pencil.
Twitter,
at Broken Pencil
Instagram,
BC.
Facebook.
Yep. All of that.
iTunes, Podomatic.
Yeah, we on Apple Podcasts. We out there, shouted.
Put you on the spot real quick. Do we do Spotify or no?
Yeah, I mean,
all right. Let's coming soon to Spotify this week. We'll be on there all 5 episodes. Once we launch this one, we'll do all 5 on Spotify at one time. So